Hi everyone, and welcome to our channel. I will begin with a question. Are you tired or even scared of reading or watching news these days because they are all about violence, crime, wars, and disasters? In that case, you're in the right place right now. In this video, I'm not going to propose any solutions to these problems. However, I will earnestly try to widen the perimeter of your perception so you can not only feel consolation, but also a deeper understanding and appreciation that all apparent evil actually serves the good. First of all, we need to understand that the mainstream media are not really a reliable source of news, and in many cases they exaggerate many situations. They are also censored by governments. The media financially thrives on presenting news about crime, violence, and other bad situations so that their sponsors can make more money, and even films too profit from sex and violence. All of these mentioned desensitize the audience to accept violence and crimes as normal everyday occurrences, which they feel they cannot do anything about. On the other side, there are churches that pacify people by preaching humility, patience, and prayer, but they do not advocate any actions to stop the pollution and manipulation of human minds. To make things even worse, there are many people, so-called religious, who tell others that the end of the world is near and other impending disasters by referring to the Bible or some other religious writings, which in turn were selected by a group of their church founders, supposedly by the Holy Spirit, to control the lives of their congregations and to make money off of them. In addition, we must not forget that also repeated lies become truth to vulnerable believers. Now, for a moment, let us turn away from political corruption and church telltales to look at the reality. Yes, I firmly believe that the whole world, as we know it, and people must and will change within our lifetime. We humans have become the most dangerous species to ourselves as well as to our natural environment, and that is why the earth is trying to shake us off like a dog infested with biting fleas, because yes, we are drilling her for oil and mining her for minerals. However, the omnipotent consciousness, or God, as some call this supreme being, will not permit it. Before you hastily conclude that I am here to preach to you about God or some religion, please listen what I'm about to say. I was raised as a Catholic and even studied to become a Franciscan priest. But when I hatched out of this religious eggshell, I was so overwhelmed and impressed by being able to think without boundaries, particularly during my university years, that for a period of time I became an atheist. Nevertheless, I have always had an insatiable curiosity, so I became an avid reader and researcher of history, philosophy, mathematics, and computer science. Based on my study of mathematics, I have realized that different dimensions and infinity do exist. For example, with respect to dimensions, we know that 2 to the power of 1 is the first dimension, geometrically expressed as a line or length. 2 to the power of 2, or 2 squared, represents the second dimension, characterized by length and width. 2 to the power of 3, or cubic 2, represents the third dimension that has length, width, and height, which together form a volume. Basically, all around us consists of these 3 dimensions. However, all 3 dimensions also move. In fact, everything in our universe is in a constant motion, and this happens in time. So now we can add time as the 4th dimension, which we can mathematically represent as 2 to the 4th power, for example. But what about 2 to the 5th power, or 2 to the 6th power, and so on? What kind of dimensions do they represent? To answer this question, I recommend to you to watch this video here. And now let us approach the question of infinity. Mathematically, infinity does exist, and it is denoted as this symbol. In physics and cosmology, we cannot ascertain whether the universe is spatially infinite, and that is still an open question. We know exponents of numbers, just like any other numbers, can continue to infinity, and therefore dimensions also have no end. So infinity also must exist, but we, trapped in a 4-dimensional world, can only conceptualize it and not perceive it through our senses limited by 4 dimensions, which are length, width, height, together making up volume, and the passage of time. Now, in my opinion, we are ready to tackle the question of the existence of the Supreme Being or consciousness, generally known as God. What I have been talking about until now are just appetizers before the main dish of the matter presented in our next video, which I envision will not only astound you, but also deeply interest you. So please click on like if you enjoy this video, or write any comments or questions below. And please subscribe to our channel to stay informed about our upcoming videos, which have a great variety of topics that will not only inform you, but also interest you and excite you. Thank you very much.